My name is Tony Gonzalez. I'm from Made in Metals, and I'm living here in Spain in the last 10 years. But I was born in Cuba. That is
Cuba. Ah,
yes, yes, a country where the band never play, but a lot of people follow, accept.
really? In Cuba? Really?
Yes,
Oh, I wish we could play there. I know the Rolling Stones played there not too long ago. So why?
yes,
I'm hoping accept.
yes.
I'd
For
love to
example,
go there.
yes, for example, Metal Heart, Restless and Wild. So I remember that the first time I listened to Restless and Wild was in my cousin's house in Cienfuegos is the name of the city.
Really?
I'm from La Habana, yes. And I have a friend whose name is Mauricio, and he confessed me when we see the band at the Win 6 Center here in Madrid. He was there that the first heavy metal band that he listened was Accept with Metal Heart.
Really? Wow. What a story. I had no idea. That's great. It's amazing.
Yes. Uh, So I followed the band for long years. But now I would like to ask you first about
Hmm.
the new CD, and then if we have time, we are going to talk about the old times.
Sure. Go ahead.
It's true that the band now has three guitar players.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
So
We decided to use an additional guitar player from now on, just because we found a great guy, Phil Schaus, and he's an amazing player, and we think it's going to be even better with three guitar players.
yes, but what does a third guitar brings to Accept?
Well, it kind of allows us to do certain things we couldn't do before. Like we wanted to do more twin guitar solos and still have a rhythm guitar player on stage as well.
Mm,
And also, so that's the live scenario. You can do more things than just with two guitar players, because on the album, a lot of times there's more than two guitars always. So with an additional guitar, you can do things like playing different parts that are only possible on the album otherwise. So it's really brings a lot of variety to the band. And on the album, we also had Phil play quite a few lead guitars, bits and
mm.
pieces, just to open it up and to make it more interesting, basically.
Okay, so you convince me. Now I need to see the band alive again. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you would be. I think you would be pleasantly surprised. It works really, really well.
Christopher Williams and Martin Mockney, they participate in the written process of this CD.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. Yeah, everybody participates. Absolutely.
Good, because, for example, I have some idea that you are the man in charge of everything in the band.
Well, I'm in charge of a lot, but that's only by coincidence and necessity over the years. When we started this whole band 40 years ago, it was never my goal or my vision to be, the boss of everything. It just so happened over the years that one member after another left the band of the original lineup, and now all of a sudden I'm the only one left. But that was not my choice, and I
Mm.
wish it wasn't that way, but it's really nothing I can do about. So obviously, since I'm the oldest member, I know I'm more involved in the songwriting than anybody else at this point. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. But that doesn't mean I'm alone. It was still as I've got a great group of friends and collaborators and everybody. I try to involve everybody as much as possible.
You have felt this before, but for example, you write a song thinking on apples, and the audience understand oranges.
Yeah, it happened many times.
Yes, and for example, when I listen Zombie Apocalypse, I think or you were thinking on the COVID, or you were watching a lot of Netflix series.
No,
No,
both wrong, both completely wrong.
no, yes. Oh,
Yeah, no, no, no. It's not about COVID and it's not about living dead. It's about people walking on the streets looking like zombies when they have their cell phones in their hands. So
yes.
it's really the idea was from Mark Tonillo. He came up with a phrase zombie apocalypse, and he said we should write a song called Zombie Apocalypse. So I asked him about zombies, like really, like isn't that kind of cheesy? Like Living Dead, it's kind of But he said, no, it's not about zombies. It's really about people looking like zombies when they are addicted to iPhones and modern technology, and they're looking like these, mindless robots. So that's what his idea was for that song. I think it's going to be easier when the people can read the lyrics and listen in. Then it's going to be more obvious. That song in particular, it's kind of hard to understand, I guess, maybe.
A friend of mine who is working in Made in Metal too, when he listened to Mean to Die, he told me that the band is going back to its roots. But in my case, let me tell you that I think that comparing with most of the songs the band has written in the last decade, this CD is a little different.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But do you really are coming back to your roots? I think not.
I mean, that's open to interpretation. Here's what we do. I mean, we sit down and we know we have to make a new album. So I start collecting ideas. I just write and write and write for weeks and months without thinking about it. Okay. And no agenda, no idea, no concept. I just write whatever comes to mind. And at some point, I have met with Andy Sneap, our producer, and I play him all the ideas that I have at that point. And then we pick out together maybe 6 or 7 songs that we felt sounded like Accept and they were promising, but they were not really finished, not all of them. So we concentrate on the first 6 songs, 6, 7 songs, then we start recording and get Mark involved. We'll play proper drums on it. And before all of a sudden during this process, the songs change and take a certain shift. And then we find another few songs to complement those first 6 songs. And all of a sudden you've got a collection of 11 or 12 songs or maybe 13 songs. And then we decide maybe 1 or 2 are not as good as the others. And then you have 11 songs and that's your album. But all along, nobody has any idea how it will end up in the end. You always just work at the moment in that one song and you have no clue about how it's going to turn out. All that will just be much more apparent with a little bit of distance, maybe a year later or so. All of a sudden you think like, oh yeah, that album sounds a lot fresher or a lot tougher or a lot heavier or less heavy. But when you do these kind of things, you never really know exactly what's happening. So to answer your question, none of this was planned or is plannable. You cannot make a decision and make an album and then that's it. That's not how it works.
I understood perfectly because, for example, during the COVID, I wrote my first novel.
Oh.
And yes, the novel that I wrote before, and I consider that it's finished. Now it has changed a lot because I check it and revise and add something, delete the other part, and then it's totally different. And I think maybe it's the same with the music.
It's absolutely the same because I mean, I cannot tell you how many days I've spent in my life recording something, and while I do it, I think it's brilliant. I think it's the best thing ever. I'm totally excited about it. And next day I come back and listen to it, and I think, what is this shit?
So
I throw it away.
I am not the only one. Oh.
Yeah. I think like, what was I thinking? What the hell was I thinking? It's terrible. So I start again, and then again and again and again, and eventually you have something that you think, oh yeah, I think this is good now. But you have to be your own worst critic, and you have to be honest to yourself, and you have to be willing to throw stuff away.
After this confession, I'm relieved. I was thinking that I was the only one, but maybe
not. No, it's called creativity, and it's called being honest to yourself.
Maybe it's my imagination, but I think in this CD, the choirs are carefully recorded. I remember, for example, Overnight Sensation and Not My Problem, to name a few. Is that right?
You mean they were carefully recorded?
Yes. For example, the choirs of these songs are the work is different than, for example, when I remember Metal Heart or something like that.
You got very good ears, my friend. I congratulate you. Nobody else picked that out. We have done it slightly different, and we have different people singing in the background vocals now. So you've got very good ears. That's correct. Nobody else has ever noticed that. Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
but
we
tell me,
used Phil, we've got these two new guys in the band, Phil Chows and Martin Modnick, and they have different voices, of course.
yes.
And we also have an additional friend here in Nashville that did some additional background vocals. So indeed, they sound different.
Don't
Good.
don't tell me that anybody noticed that but me.
Yeah, you're the first one.
No,
Congratulations.
unbelievable.
First prize.
Okay, perfect. So something happened with this choir. These lines are more, to say something that is not the correct way, but are more educated.
Oh, excellent.
The voices are really good. The voices are really good.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're right, but nobody else noticed it. Very well, my friend. I will tell the guys. That will make them very happy.
Yes, yes, but there is something more. There is more. There is more. For example, a Symphony of Pain reminds me Metal Heart because there are some classical guitar lines. But,
sure.
But what is the relationship between Beethoven and Symphony of Pain?
Well, we're in lyrics. In the lyrics, we're talking about Mr. Beethoven's struggle with his personal life when he was losing his hearing.
Yes.
Because that was very painful, obviously. So since we musically, I'm using parts from Beethoven's symphony. The da 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 from the Ninth Symphony, and also in the guitar solo, there's another part that's Beethoven. So it was only natural for us to talk about the story of his personal tragedy, because that was very painful. So we call it the Symphony of Pain, and it's talking about Beethoven's life.
Yes, you use ta 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 ta, but you use another part that is related to another Beethoven symphony.
Yeah, that's right. Beethoven's Symphony 5 and number 9. It's the Ode to Joy.
Yes, Ode to Joy. Yes, I won't remember, but now I remember. Yes,
but the way that we do it, it's now the Ode to Pain, because we make it more sad than it's originally. It's now the Ode to Pain.
Yes, so I think that this song is really strong. You made a video from Two Men to Die. So, and if you are ready to record a new video, what will be the song selected?
I'm not sure. Right now, we're talking about zombie apocalypse. And sometimes you do these decisions mainly because you think about what would be the best visual subject. And one of the reasons why we took Undertaker as a first single was because the lyrics in itself are kind of a story, and you see a movie in your mind when you read the lyrics, because they're talking about an Undertaker and all that. So a lot of times you make these videos for the songs that are the best to translate into a visual medium. Yes. So I think zombie apocalypse might be a better choice for that than, for instance, the Beethoven thing, because you cannot really do a video about Beethoven very easily. Well, maybe you can, but I don't know how.
Talking about the CD, to me, it was a surprise that the last song was Samson and Delilah. It's an instrumental song, but I don't remember if you take part from another classical idea or yes?
Yes. Two classical ideas in that song. First and foremost, it's the Arabian main theme. That main melody, that is actually from a classical piece called Samson and Delilah by a French composer by the name of Camille Saint-Saëns. It's, I believe, an opera. And then the other piece is by Antonín Dvořák, the Czech composer, and it's the Symphony of the New World. So there's two classic elements in that instrumental that never were meant to be together, but I put them together. Why not?
I think that why not? No, you are right.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm going to ask you a question that is very personal, and maybe to me as a Cuban it's funny, but you are German, and maybe to you it's not funny. As long as I know, you met your manager and wife, Gaby, in 1981.
Yeah,
yes,
correct.
She is now an important part of the band.
Yes.
After almost 40 years. can you remember what came first in your relation, love or business?
Business.
Business?
Yeah.
Oh, you
I
are
never.
not romantic. Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
no problem, no problem. Me neither.
I'm just honest. I'm not. I am romantic, but it was a business relationship, or let's put it this way: it was meant to be a business relationship, but of course, it turned into much more. It turned into a life relationship of 40 years.
Yes.
But originally, she was. It was not that my girlfriend became the manager. No, it was I married the existing manager. So it was different. She was a manager first, and then we fell in love.
My last question is
Hmm.
related to my life and your life. For
Okay.
example, yes, I try to see the band in concert all the time that I can. I saw you in at Hellfest one day, one
Oh,
year. I saw you here in Spain in 2016 and 2018. And I want to confess you that every time I see you smiling on the stage, I felt that the spirit of heavy metal walks among us.
ah,
So
nice.
you are the only original member in ASEP. Do you think of the retirement for a moment or in the future, in an early future, or not yet?
Never, never, nunca,
No.
never,
Yes.
never, my friend. Because here's my plan. I want to be 95 years old and die on stage.
Good.
Maybe 96. We have to see. But I want to jump from the drum riser, and I want to have a heart attack in midair. So
Yes.
before I land on stage, I'll be dead, and then the curtain falls, and that's my scenario for the end of my life. Do you like it?
I like it, but I will prefer that it won't happen in front of me. Yes,
Oh,
but maybe
but
this is
but,
this is a
but
good ending for a movie about a set.
yeah, and you know what? You're gonna be 95 too, so you
Yes.
better.
Yes. I'm not thinking to be 95. I think that maybe before 90 I will die.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the sad truth is that musicians live they count twice. People don't musicians don't get to be 95 years old usually.
Yes.
But who knows? That's my goal. And the best is yet to come. So there you have it.
Wolf, this was the interview. Please don't forget to tell your co-workers that
Yes,
I listened that the choirs were different.
you're the
Please.
best. You
Yes,
win the
and
first prize, my friend.
yes,
I'm
and
I'm
if
very impressed.
thank you. And if you want to tell something to the Spanish fan, this is your moment.
Hasta pronto. Well, hopefully we can see each other again, my friends, and hopefully we can see each other in person very soon. And until then, please enjoy the new album, Too Mean to Die, and stay safe, my friends. Okay? See you soon.
Thank you very much, Wolf. I really enjoy this moment. You can't imagine how I am enjoying this.
Excellent. Same
Yes.
same thing here, my friend. Con mucho gusto. I'll see you
Mucho
again.
gusto, Wolf. Mucho gusto. I
Mucho
know
gusto.
that. So you are very famous here, but if next year you are in a Spanish festival and I am at the festival, I will invite you to have a beer with us.
Una cerveza, por favor. Yeah, please. Okay, my
Yes.
friend.
So give my regards to all the band.
Yes, please. I will.
Yes. And with this, we finish the interview.
Thank you, my friend. Nice talking with you. Take care.
You're welcome. Bye bye, Wolf.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Ciao.
Ciao.